Christine, how much does it hurt the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out?
It is devastating to the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out.
Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said, one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion. But
the WNBA is experiencing a severe financial decline, struggling to stay afloat as its foundation begins to collapse without Caitlin Clark on the court. This situation once again highlights the league's failure to protect the one player who brought them out of obscurity and into mainstream attention. It's a story of how the league continues to sabotage its own success while its biggest star remains sidelined due to injury, and how their unwillingness to face the truth is costing them millions each day.
And the truth is the truth, and the data is there. And what we saw when Caitlin was out the last time, the 5 games that she missed earlier in the season, the WNBA's viewership dropped more than 50%. Not just the Fever, but the entire league.
In today's world of manufactured drama and constant social media outrage, the truth has become as scarce as a sold-out WNBA game without Caitlin Clark. When Clark was sidelined with a quad injury on May 24th, it laid bare just how much the league relies on a single player. Now, with her out again due to a groin injury and no clear timeline for her return, the same troubling pattern is playing out once more.
Quad injury jumped to her groin likely because of compensation. But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so be it.
Nationally televised WNBA games have seen a dramatic 55% drop in viewership, with Indiana Fever games specifically experiencing a 53% decline. The numbers fell from an average of 1.81 million viewers when Caitlin Clark was on the court to just 847,000 in her absence. But this is where the situation turns from bad to outright absurd, though in a way that's all too predictable for a league that continually fails to learn from its past missteps.
And Clark went down. The WNBA ratings have dropped over 55% across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
League is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA, guys.
Sidelined with a left quad strain May 24th. National TV viewership has plunged since then 55%. Before the injury, they Fever, her team, were averaging 1.81 million viewers, almost 2 million. Since her injury, fewer than 850,000.
While Caitlin Clark was out doing what she does best, packing arenas, shattering TV ratings, and driving record-breaking revenue, the WNBA, true to form, did nothing to safeguard its most valuable player. Despite Clark being responsible for an astounding 26.5% of the league's total economic impact, the league's response has been to let her be repeatedly targeted by opponents without consequence, all while dismissing concerns with vague talk about basketball plays. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe my channel for more awesome content. Thanks.
News is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA. At the end of this season, the WNBA will go into CBA negotiations. If negotiations go well, then every single player in the WNBA has a much better chance of making so much more in their next contract. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark and how they have treated her fans.
What's especially striking, and by that, we mean incredibly frustrating, is that this situation isn't new. The WNBA has been down this road before, watching its ratings and revenue nosedive when its top star goes down with an injury. Yet, the league seems unable, or unwilling, to learn from its past. It's like watching someone touch a hot stove, get burned, and then reach for it again while insisting they had no idea it would hurt.
Now, what's really concerning about this is the fact that we are only a month into the regular season, and Caitlin Clark has already been out with 2 injuries. With the first one being her having to miss some time with a left quad strain. Now, of course, this is concerning because if you're already on your second injury, you don't want to be that player that is always hurt. Cough, cough, Embiid, cough, cough, Anthony Davis. So I really do hope that the Fever really sits her out right now for a while, only because you don't want her to have more long-term injuries and be more prone to.
If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe. The financial fallout has been rapid and brutal. Ticket prices for Indiana Fever games have plunged by 71%, with some dropping from $860 to just $250. On average, ticket prices for games Caitlin Clark has missed fell from $1,370 to just $80, a jaw-dropping drop that clearly shows who truly drives interest in the WNBA. Games that had been moved to larger arenas to meet overwhelming demand for Clark are now struggling to fill seats in venues that would have otherwise been sold out. The highly anticipated rematch between the Chicago Sky and the Fever, a game that previously attracted 2.25 million viewers, making it one of the most watched in league history, saw ticket prices fall from $210 to $95 without Clark. Without her, even marquee matchups become just another game that casual fans largely ignore.
Man, bruh. Congratulations to the WNBA. Your ratings are going to drop by 55 to 60% once again. I believe the WNBA have successfully broken Caitlin Clark.
Veteran sports journalist Christine Brennan, whose forthcoming book on her game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports, aims to shine a light on the WNBA's missteps, has emerged as one of the league's most outspoken critics. The WNBA continues to fail to meet the moment, Brennan wrote after yet another incident in which Clark was blatantly targeted by opponents. Her words go straight to the core of the issue. The league has clear data showing that Caitlin Clark alone is responsible for drawing over half of its TV audience, yet they still allow her to endure cheap shots and unnecessary fouls meant solely to intimidate her. It's akin to a restaurant owner standing by while patrons harass the one chef whose food is the sole reason anyone shows up.
As big a deal as Tiger was in men's golf, Keith, he did, and when he was gone, it affected the ratings, but nothing like that. And, Michael Jordan being out, maybe a 5 percentage points or something. Nothing like this. You can make a strong case, and I will make that case, and have that there is no one single athlete more important to his or her sport or tour or whatever the circuit is that they play on than Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA.
The pattern has become frustratingly familiar. Caitlin Clark gets hit with hard fouls from opponents who often seem more focused on making a statement than playing the game. Of the 30 flagrant fouls called in the WNBA this season, 5 have been against Clark, and the Chicago Sky account for 80% of those. When she pushes back, she's labeled too aggressive. When she doesn't, she's accused of being soft. It's a lose-lose scenario, one entirely created and ignored by the league. Meanwhile, the financial fallout extends beyond the Indiana Fever, affecting the entire WNBA. Even with Clark's boost in visibility and revenue, the league was already expected to lose $50 million this year. Now, with her sidelined, those losses are growing quickly as TV ratings plummet, merchandise sales decline, and attendance dips back to levels seen before Clark entered the league.
I don't even know where to begin, man. I hope Caitlin Clark is okay. I want to know when this injury even happened, bro, because let's be serious here. She has the quad injury. Mind you, Caitlin Clark hadn't missed a game since she was like 19 years old, since she was like 18 in college or something. Now she has a groin injury. We've never seen Caitlin Clark play as bad as she played the last 3 games. Let's just be serious here. She's like 1 for 20-something on threes in the last 3. We've never seen her shoot the ball this way. I'll say that. Has she been hurt and playing through this?
What makes this situation most troubling is that it was entirely avoidable. Caitlin Clark entered the league as a humble rookie, consistently praising her teammates and deflecting the spotlight. She responded to criticism with poise and maturity well beyond her 22 years. The WNBA had the opportunity to support her, protect her, and leverage her rising fame to uplift the entire league. Instead, jealousy and petty politics tainted what should have been a milestone moment for women's basketball. The impact of Clark's injury goes far beyond just ratings and ticket sales. Major corporate sponsors who invested heavily in the league because of her popularity are now rethinking their commitments. At its core, this situation exposes a deep identity crisis within the WNBA. The league seems torn between being a respected professional sports organization and chasing viral drama for social media traction. But it can't have it both ways. Real pro leagues protect their stars and uphold competitive integrity. High school drama clubs, on the other hand, create chaos just to get attention.
The thing I admire about Caitlyn, she's a warrior. She's tough. You hear me? Bruh, you just don't see players, you don't see female basketball players like her. I'm sorry. I done seen a lot of female basketball players, like I said.
The contrast between the WNBA and other professional sports leagues is both glaring and embarrassing. Imagine if the NBA allowed players to take repeated cheap shots at LeBron James for months, all under the excuse of competitive basketball. The league would step in immediately, issuing fines and suspensions before anyone could even say flagrant foul. Yet the WNBA appears willing to let this damaging pattern continue, seemingly convinced that any publicity is good publicity. This negligence has fostered a toxic atmosphere, one where fans are turning away from other WNBA games because they've lost faith in the league's commitment to fairness and competitive integrity. When fans start openly saying they won't watch unless the league's biggest star is on the court, because they no longer believe the games are being officiated fairly, it signals a serious credibility crisis, one that runs far deeper than just ratings or financial losses.
The cleanup, I believe the physicality and all this hacking and fouling that goes on, she getting blindsided by Marina Mabry. I think all of this stuff is having a wear and tear and an impact. And all you guys are doing are hurting yourselves, because the numbers are going to drop and drop and drop. And trust me, when it's time for that collective bargaining agreement, they are going to point to this and say, well, how can we give you guys all this money? What happens if she gets hurt?
What makes this entire situation even more frustrating is that the WNBA has had numerous chances to correct course, and has failed every single time. Each incident involving Caitlyn Clark should have served as a wake-up call to implement clear guidelines around player safety and competitive integrity. Instead, the league has responded with the same worn-out excuses about basketball plays and letting the game flow. Ironically, Clark's injury, exactly the kind of outcome the league should have been working to avoid, has become the most undeniable proof of her value. A 55% drop in viewership is anything but subtle. Yet, despite this clear, measurable impact, there's little sign that the WNBA has taken the message to heart. League officials continue to talk about maintaining competitive balance and allowing physical play, as if aggressive fouls and borderline dirty tactics are essential to the game. Meanwhile, routine plays involving Clark are overanalyzed, while truly dangerous actions against her are overlooked entirely.
Every day because of the way they play the game, because I love the WNBA. I love the way they play the game. But we really watch it because Caitlyn Clark and everybody watching. Now listen, if I keep bumping her, knocking her down, might get her a concussion, you might hurt her for real. For 2 weeks, she was done with like a hamstring. She was down. 55% of the viewership was down. She comes back the next game, it's about 3 million viewers. Now let me tell you something. Growing up in the hood, they teach you this. Always protect the money. Y'all keep hurting her and all that. She's gone for a year or two. Ain't nobody gonna watch it. If nobody watches, how y'all gonna make and generate money?
The solution to this crisis isn't complex, but it does require the WNBA to make some tough choices about its identity. If the league truly wants to be respected as a professional basketball organization, it needs to start operating like one. That means putting clear, enforceable rules in place to protect players and applying them consistently. It also means cutting back on the manufactured drama that distracts from the quality of the game itself. Most importantly, the league must acknowledge that its biggest stars, especially those who drive attendance and boost TV ratings, deserve protection from the kind of targeting and harassment that serves no purpose beyond stirring up social media chatter. The steep decline in viewership, ticket sales, and revenue in Clark's absence is a sobering reality check. Without her, the WNBA has slipped back toward the obscurity it was just beginning to escape. The league has averaged only 555,000 viewers for games not featuring Clark this season, well below last year's average of 670,000. These numbers paint a clear picture of regression, a return to empty arenas and games that few beyond the most dedicated fans bother to watch.
What I saw walk into the game is what the media don't see. thousands of kids.
Wearing what, Gil?
Kids. Huh?
What were they
Caitlin
wearing?
Clark jerseys.
Were they Fever jerseys? Were they Iowa jerseys? Were they
Wherever she played. It was whatever she played.
And that's what was more impressive to me.
It did that. It wasn't just. It was Caitlin in the back.
For her style of play.
But her style of play. But it was. It wasn't what we were. It wasn't adults. Right. It was parents bringing their kids and their friends. Them seats was kids filled.
Right.
And that's what they don't understand. They don't grasp that part of it.
What's most heartbreaking about this entire situation is that it was completely avoidable. With the right level of protection and smart promotion, the WNBA could have used Caitlin Clark's popularity to build a strong, lasting foundation for the league's growth. Instead, they've created a fragile setup, one that collapses the moment their biggest star isn't on the floor. Until the WNBA learns to genuinely support and safeguard the players who generate real interest, it will continue to swing between moments of high attention and near-total irrelevance. The presence or absence of a single player shouldn't be what determines whether the public pays attention. The real question now is whether the league will finally take steps to protect its most valuable asset, or whether it will keep repeating the same mistakes until the opportunity Caitlin Clark represents is lost for good. Unfortunately, given the WNBA's track record, betting on sudden good judgment doesn't seem like a safe wager.